allegiance. Mike, would you lead us?
Absolutely. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As usual, I'd like to thank the public for coming out tonight. Appreciate it. And we'll move right into the item number 2, the public comments. This is a section where you're able to talk about anything on the agenda tonight or anything you wish to share with the commission. So I'd like to limit to 5 minutes each person. And if you would, approach the podium and state your name and address.
Name's Lisa Whitehead. It's 33 Lee High Court, Christiansburg. I was unable to attend your last meeting, but I sent a letter in here with my objections. I have since watched the video of the meeting. Now, most of the houses in that area are on quarter-acre lots. This is a very small lot for a business, if any of you have been by it. I also think I don't know how good my memory is, okay? But before Bright Services bought it, which was the previous owner, I believe that building was the health department. And the lot they're wanting to rezone was a gravel parking lot to that health department, which is why you have the steps going down beside the building, because that was a parking lot. So, of course, whatever he does with the property, you'll find a lot of gravel under that grass and weeds and everything. You all also brought up at the meeting, what if he decides to sell that property? If you zone it as business, who knows what kind of business is going to go in there? And that lot really is just too small for any kind of business. Also, the apartment above it, he said that it's not going to be a permanent rental. There are going to be people in and out of it. I don't care for that. You never know who's going to be there for how long or who you've got going in and out of the property. But my biggest concern is just way too small for a business. I think Christiansburg has a housing problem. So to me, it should be left as a residential area. That's, that's just my opinion of that. Now, one thing a little off of that subject I want to bring up is the sign you all post saying public hearing. It's so small you can't read it. And the sign for that property was facing Depot. Well, if anyone knows Depot, it's busy. Nobody could see that sign, and there's no place to pull over and read it. So just a suggestion, you might want to consider where and how you're positioning the signs when you put these hearings up. The only way I knew about it was I got a certified letter because my property is adjacent to this. My property backs up to this lot you're wanting to rezone. And I just, I really feel it should stay residential. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else wishing?
The same property. I love Christiansburg. This is a nice little town. Christiansburg is in a housing shortage, okay? We've got downtown. I feel like that being zoned as residential will help keep life alive in downtown. And I think that it is best served for the community and the residents that that property stays residential. Thank you.
Thank you.
And did I get your name?
Lisa Whitehead.
I got Lisa.
Debbie Dodson.
Okay. That's for the minutes, so, right?
Thank you.
I'm looking out after you guys.
You are.
Okay, anyone else wishing to speak tonight? All right, seeing no one else, I'm going to go ahead and close the public comment section and move on to agenda item number 3, the approval of Planning Commission minutes for July 15th, 2024. Any changes, any questions? Can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the July 15 minutes.
Second. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Moving on to agenda item number 4. This is the action that we're going to take possibly tonight on the rezoning as well as the conditional use permit. And since they relate together, I would like staff just to give us an update on both actions.
Yeah, so after internal discussion with staff and then the zoning administrator, it was determined that section 42-9 subsection I would be applicable to this case. And essentially what that section is an exception relating to a conditional zoning and or conditional use permit with regards to off-street parking. So what this means is that if a proffer is presented by the applicant or if a condition is applied by the planning commission that would drastically reduce the impact of the applied use, then town council could then reduce the number of parking spaces. And the way staff had decided possibly the best way to go about that is if planning commission does decide to recommend this for approval, then planning commission could then add the, I guess, almost add it as a recommendation for a reduction in parking spaces. So as an addition to the motion.
Okay, thank you. So let me explain this just so the audience knows. At this point in time, this is a discussion period in which the commissioners here tonight may ask some questions and may do some follow-up to questions that we had at the other meeting. But at this point, the commission, it's going to be their recommendation to move forward or not, and that will be to the town council. So they make the final decision on this. Okay. So commissioners, we had a bunch of questions last meeting. We have a proffer in front of us, as well as a exception to the condition. And so what are the thoughts?
So they're willing to concede and go with 5 spots, is that what I'm reading here? That it would be the space would have 5 parking spaces along with the building?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out. What would be the recommendation for reduction of parking? Would we have to say a certain number?
12 originally and 7.
And the applicant is here tonight as well, if you have any
Okay.
questions to him
Okay.
specifically.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Mhm.
So, according to the guidelines, we were looking at potentially 12 new parking spots.
12 original.
10 for the new building and 2 for the residential. And now we're looking at a proffer that basically is saying that we'll do 5 parking spots. That's the way I read it.
Me too.
One thing I did want to make clear is, my understanding of the applicant's reason for the residential is not necessarily a housing shortage. It would be such a small, apartment, in itself that, it wouldn't make a dent on Christiansburg's housing issues, so, if I understand it correctly, an applicant, you can correct me if I'm wrong, it would house one of the employees that work at your medical facility. So, question I guess would be, would it be the same employee, or would this be a rotating person that, as long as they work there, they can stay at the residential unit?
Yes, Mr. My name is Joseph Skanter. I'm a double-boarded child and adult psychiatrist. I finished my med school in BCom. I lived in this town for multiple years. Finished my residency, internship, fellowship in Corellia and Virginia Tech. So I've been around this area for multiple years. We have successful practice in Roanoke and Lynchburg, and we added Christiansburg. So the use for this lot will be to expand his office. It's not going to be all medical. It's going to be support staff, and we'll possibly have 1 or 2 therapists. So the parking space is not going to be high traffic. The apartment upstairs will be used as needed. We have to make the investment in the building make sense. And so we have to make sure the parking we use is gonna work for us. Because even if you give us permission and we'll go in and the parking doesn't work for us, we're gonna have to reassess the situation. So the first request is to rezone it B3, which is we have more than enough parking for B3, including the unit upstairs and the first floor. So there's no issue with parking. So the exception, the proffer we're asking is lower the number of parking we need for the first floor so we can expand his office and put our support staff. So I'll give you example in Roanoke. I have a 4,000 square foot clinical space. My support staff in different building because there's no space for support staff. So when we file insurance, pre-authorization to do this and to do that, you need a lot of people. These people do not see a client. They don't use any parking spots except for them. So the building will be used for support staff and possibly 1 or 2 providers. So it's not going to generate a lot of traffic. Plus 30% to 50% of our client is video. So my specialty, we used video before the pandemic. You know, I did tele like 15 years ago, before anybody in medicine know tele. Now our client tele percentage increased. Especially there is no child psychiatrist in Southwest Virginia. As far as I know, I'm the only one, possibly from Lynchburg down to North Carolina. There is no child psychiatrist. So we cover big distance, and most of our kids and our families, they prefer tele, so you don't have to drive a couple hours to come and see us. So the only exception we ask is to lower the requirement so we can use the office. But from a B3 zoning, we have enough parking for the unit and for the office. Does this make sense?
Yep.
So you have enough in the original building, their main office?
So the main office has enough parking for itself. I'm talking about the new one we asking you guys to rezone has enough parking too, for B3.
How many spaces would that be?
So we have 7 as of today.
7 as of today?
Yes, 2 for the unit upstairs and 4 for the downstairs, and 5 for downstairs, which is meet requirement for professional office. So if it's insurance person coming in and rent the first floor, for example, there is no problem. We'll get certification of occupancy with no issue. If I come in and I ask for certification of occupancy, you guys not gonna give it to me. You're gonna say, you know, you need parking, specific parking lot per 200, I believe so. So you're not gonna give it to me, even though I don't even need this much because of the circumstances I have.
Was the 5 recommendation based on just the space, the amount of acreage there? It's a pretty tight lot, is that why?
It is small,
So you
yeah.
have a-
There's the, we pulled
Yeah.
up the, I don't know if you can zoom.
So 2 parking lot per 400 square foot is recommended for professional building. And we do have that. For a medical, it requires 2 per 200.
So let me ask a question
Sure.
about your support staff. Where is your support staff today?
So right now we have 2. So I'm also teaching in Lowe's Gale. So every month I have a new senior resident coming in and rotate with me. Like right now, when I'm in Christiansburg, this person don't have a place to stay. So they don't see patients, they just follow me. So this would be nice to have some area, like if I have the manager coming from Roanoke, they don't have a space to stay. So this is where it's a good problem to have. We're outgrowing space, and if we add more services the community need, at one point we're gonna have to move or we'll have to build this building. So is more people involved behind the scene is needed. Like right now, I have a whole unit, just support the staff, in addition to the one who's sitting with the clinical people. So, but we're gonna use, there is clinical people will be in the first floor, but it's not gonna be the whole floor.
So if there's clinical people in the first floor, would that make it a medical building?
And this is the exception we're asking you to do. Because if there's no medical people, then there's no exception. We just make it professional building. So the rezoning is one thing, the exception for the parking is one thing. The proffer. So the proffer saying, I will come to you and get certification of occupancy, and let's lower the parking space because I'm not gonna use all the space for clinical, and plus we don't see a lot of client. As a primary care or as a cardiologist, we don't see that. You know, 50%, 30 to 60 to 50% is all video. So it's meaning I'm There's nobody coming in.
So I'm gonna go back to my original question about support staff.
Sure.
They're in the first building now?
So right now we have two,
Two,
but there's people come and visit.
okay?
Like, you know, the manager coming in from Roanoke, the biller coming from Roanoke. There's no space to sit down and work. So having this building next door is gonna solve this issue.
All right. Further questions? I normally wouldn't let the public speak again, but I'm gonna let you.
I just had a question. He's talking his clerical staff in it, but he also said there may be a need to put a couple of doctors in there too. So that does make it better, right?
I would.
Didn't you say you may end up with doctors in there? It won't just be clerical.
This is why we asked him for the proffer to give us exception for, if we do not put a therapist or a provider in, then there's no need for exceptions, and we did make it, because if I put my support staff, then it should be B3, no exception, as a professional building. It's not gonna be medical. If I put my office manager, my biller, it's not a medical office, it's a professional.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm asking for the proffer. I said, we're gonna put few medical staff, but we're not gonna need any more parking.
Yeah, okay, all right, so, a little clarification from, on my part, and make sure that the commission understands too, so, as a office building, would the 5 parking spots be adequate?
It would.
Okay,
It's the
So
medical
do we
that
have a map
requires.
with 5, or is the
It's 5 plus 2.
5?
5 plus 2.
So 7.
Two for the apartment.
Mhm.
Right, it's a tight spot.
It is.
right,
Yeah.
okay.
So the zoning currently being requested, it does meet for that general office.
I didn't hear you.
It does meet general office,
Okay.
so for the zoning that's being requested, it does meet that.
Please keep your comments.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. Mark, what other questions do you have?
I only have a question. It just seems like a lot of parking spots for a really small, narrow lot. It's more of a council decision than planning commission, I suppose,
Mike, how about you?
Before I make any discussion, pursuant to Virginia Code Section
Oh, yeah.
2.2-3.112, Section B1 and 2.2-3115, Section H, I am declaring that I am a member of one of 3 or more businesses that may be affected by the agenda items 4A and 4B. As an owner of an electrical and electronic security contractor, I am able to participate in the discussion and voting on this matter fairly objectively and in the public interest. Just kind of my thing. It's kind of my 2 cents on it is, you know, when we discussed a few weeks ago about changing the parking ordinance for banks and things like that, one of the things we discussed was that, you know, the reason we have these parking rules is so that parking doesn't spill over into public areas or residential areas and things like that. And I don't see that being a problem here. Nobody's gonna be parking on Depot Street. I feel like if there's a parking issue, I don't really see them spilling over into a residential area or anything like that. So, just my 2 cents. I'm in favor of moving forward with the reduced parking, so.
Okay. Jean Ann, how about you?
I don't know that I have an issue with the medical piece or the parking, but I am a no-go on the rezoning, which is gonna put me as a no-go on the B option. I just don't feel comfortable with it being zoned to B3. So I think the thoughts that have gone into trying to make it acceptable within the medical and B3 range is fine. But having looked at the property, just the concerns with B3 in general, I'm a no recommendation.
Staff, have we heard from any other of the neighbors? None?
No.
You think we're in a position to take a vote tonight? Okay, we'll take these separately, and even though they do relate, because one without the other is a showstopper.
That would be true.
So, on action item A, the rezoning of this property from R2 to B3. Do I have a motion to approve this? And the proffer doesn't come into place on this one, right? It comes into place on the other one.
For the reason.
Proffer,
Yeah.
The
for-
proffers
it-
for the reason.
yeah, it
For the
goes with,
rezoning,
yes.
okay. With the, taking into consideration the rezoning, for this item. So can I have a motion, to approve the rezoning, as I stated, from R2 to B3, with the stated proffer for 5 parking spots?
So moved.
Second? So in this case, I don't have a second, so the motion fails. Is that the way to stay it?
You'd have to do a,
You would do a
Y-
motion again.
then you
yeah.
have to do a different motion.
Okay.
You would, yeah,
that
so you would
motion
have to,
Does not pass?
Yeah.
right,
So, then do I have a
to
motion?
not recommend it, right?
To not recommend.
Yeah.
Do not recommend.
Well,
So do I have a motion to
Not
not
recommend.
recommend?
There you go.
Okay.
I'm-
The rezoning.
I make a motion to not recommend the rezoning of the property from R3 to B, from R2 to B3.
Okay, we have a first and a second. All those in favor of not approving the rezoning, say aye.
Aye.
All those against?
Nay.
Okay. That means that will not pass. And again, this will go to town council. It's just our recommendation. They will have a public hearing, and they will go through all this and make sure you're there. Okay? Given that the rezoning didn't pass, I'm going to look for a motion on the approval of the, I guess I can't even do that, can I? Approval of the conditional use permit because the rezoning didn't take place.
Right, because it is based on the B3.
So is it null and void, or do we have to have a motion?
I don't think we need a motion. I think we can just, I don't,
I think it's better
just
to
in
have a
case.
motion.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I will ask for, since the rezoning was not allowed, I'll ask for a motion to not allow the conditional use permit.
I make a motion to not recommend the conditional use permit for the property.
And do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Okay. All right, so as I explained, this will go to town council, and the dates for the public hearing, thank you, staff, are Tuesday, August 13th at 7 o'clock. So, public, you should be there too, as well, voice your opinions. And Joseph, I appreciate you coming out tonight, and make sure that you're at the meeting as well.
And just know, we made a we decided not to recommend, but that is not to say that town council will not make a different decision. So I just wanna make sure you're there, you know that.
And I will go on the record for saying, we appreciate your service in the town and what you do. Thank you. Okay, moving on to, agenda item number 5, other business. I think, Retta, you probably have some other business for us, don't you?
I do, unfortunately.
No, it's not that.
Oh, okay, I was like, I don't want the other business.
Oh, well,
It is related.
Okay.
so I don't know how many of you all know.
I don't think these guys.
Anybody knows? Okay, well, Andrew will no longer be with the town of Christiansburg. He wanted to let everybody know how much he's enjoyed working with you all and that he really appreciates everything, so.
He's heading back to Blacksburg.
Well, I wasn't gonna say that.
Well, I
I wasn't gonna throw him under the
He
bus.
does,
But to
does live there.
Retta's
He
comment,
does.
he stopped by the golf course and highly, highly appreciates everything that you guys have done on the planning commission. So, I mean, it's, he's worked with us for a long time, and we'll truly miss him, that's for sure. So, anyone else have any comments?
Nope. Oh,
Okay.
do we have anything on the agenda for Monday, August 19th?
Only a comp plan subcommittee meeting. There won't
Subcommittee.
be a
Nice.
planning
Okay.
commission meeting,
Okay.
but there will be one on September 3rd with multiple items.
Okay, I can tell you, I will not, September 3rd is Tuesday? Because
Yes.
Monday is Labor Day. Okay, cool. September 3rd is a Tuesday, because Monday's a holiday. Okay.
All right, with that, I'll adjourn the meeting.